Hey Pokemon fans, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm digging back into my base set 2 collection, one that's often overlooked. You can see here, right on the first page, I'm missing a very important card, the Blastoise.
Blastoise!
I'd prioritize grabbing the Charizard first, because it's Charizard, and it's by far the most expensive card in the set, but the big man Blastoise is up next. I want to take a quick look through how my base set 2 collection is coming along, and then dig into whether I can find a deal on a Blastoise, maybe with some tips and tricks along the way.
Let's take a look through and see where my collection stands in the software I use to monitor and manage my collection, Pokemon GG. You can see I'm sitting around 83%. This is in Canadian dollars. Looking at 130 cards at almost $1,400 total market value, and we're sitting just shy of 900. Not bad. We're in good shape. We have the most expensive card, which is the Charizard. We've got a bunch of the holos, maybe about half of them. The one we're really paying attention to today, right here, the Blastoise, the second most expensive card. Let's take a look what else. Kind of scan through. See that there's still some reasonable size cards that we're looking for. Venusaur here being the third most expensive. A bunch of $30 cards. So still a ways to go, but I like to take care of getting the big cards out of the way first, because it takes time to find deals on those. Most of the rares are covered. We've got a few here, and then just a couple uncommons that we're missing. So overall the collection is looking pretty good. I can show off the binder later. Commons look to be almost or are completely full. Missing a couple rare trainer cards. And then we have all the energies. There's a nice handy feature where we can just see what we need here and sort by things, so like price. So that's how I would prioritize something like Blastoise, and I'm also looking around for Venusaur right now, which would be its own video.
I found that the better understanding you have of a set or its generation, the more likely you are to find deals. It could just be me, but finding deals on vintage cards versus modern cards feels like slightly different skill sets. Lots of the Wizards of the Coast sets have things like first editions, weird reverse holos like in the Legendary collection, or unique misprints. Base set has 4 official print versions, for example. Base set 2 is without a doubt the easiest of these vintage sets to understand. The only issue you may run into is people thinking they have a base set card and pricing it higher than it should be, or sometimes you get people calling them second editions. Because of this, for the most part, you just want to search for the card using its name and the card number, and you'll find the majority of the listings. Let's take a look on eBay to see if we can uncover any deals. We can see on my collection app here that the Blastoise price is set around $150, and they base that on the TCG player prices. And as a Canadian TCG player is not worth it at all anymore, so I usually ignore that as an option for buying cards. $150 is probably more than this card is worth, but we'll set that as the absolute ceiling for an ungraded Blastoise.
Let's take a look through all the Blastoise that I either bid on or was keeping an eye on to see if the prices would be reasonable. You can see right away that we're already blasting past the $100 mark with some of these, especially with shipping to Canada where I live. This one was pretty good, but it had a big dent in it. I did bid on it and was fine at a slightly lower price, but near $80 I didn't think it was worth it. And then you get up past $80 for moderately played cards, and typically anything LP was in the 100 or more mark, which is fairly high, definitely more than I'd want to spend on this type of card. You can see that the Canadian conversion is also pretty tough these days. Even a PSA 4 going for over $80 here. This is an important note, just keep that in mind. You can see there's not a whole lot of change between these. Something like this is not bad. I just kind of missed it. You can see there was quite a few that I was watching or waiting on. Let's go take a look at what is actively listed to get a sense of the prices right now. So searching for Blastoise 2 130, which is the base 2 set. Pretty tough to find a card that's less than $100 here that's not damaged. You can see $76 damaged. Reasonable price, but nobody wants damaged cards. Even a PSA 7 going for at least 200. Cards going in the 400 range. Let's do a quick check on the lowest priced ones right now. Stuff that was newly listed is always tough. I typically keep an eye on it, but anything that has this high of shipping in Canada is usually does not end up being a good deal for me. Yeah, you can see pretty similar in a card like this that's pretty mangled, going for $60 plus 17 shipping. I don't have a whole lot of interest in that. So no real bargains to be had here. Let's take a quick closer look at this damage. Some people mark stuff damaged and it's usually pretty minor. It can be minor. Yeah, creasing. Creasing is an immediate no-go for me. That's usually the thing that kills a purchase for me. A little whitening I'm totally fine with, something like this, if it had no creases. But not interested in a card like that. I ended up filming this after purchasing the card, but I can show you that I ended up getting a pretty good deal compared to all the stuff you just saw. This was listed for just under $80, and an important note, it was already in Canada, so the shipping was way less. It can be a great deal if you look for cards in the PSA 4 to 6 range, because slab collectors don't want that range of cards, but in vintage they are usually decent condition. So let's take a look here at the pictures, which is what I went off of. The front looked great. I saw zero whitening, zero anything. It looks almost perfect, which was a great sign. As a collector who puts stuff in binders, I care much more about the front than I do the back, especially if I'm going to think about cracking the slab open and putting it in a binder. Check the back here. This is most likely why this got a PSA 5. You can see in the top left here, it's got a fair bit of whitening. Overall, this card looks to be in solid condition, and that's the reason why I pulled the trigger on it. I ended up offering, I think, $70 for it, and they counter-offered with $72, which I was fine with. That ended up being, $81 Canadian, compared to all the $100+ cards that we were just looking at. I think that was a pretty good deal. The stuff I check for before making an offer or truly looking to purchase something, check how long the seller's been around for. 10 reviews is fine, not great. 100% positive is a good sign. Always good to check for neutral stuff and whether they end up not shipping cards, which has happened to me a bunch of late because prices are fluctuating so much. I ended up having no problem with this seller. It was perfect. He even threw in some extra cards, so that was good. Again, I always like to look at where it's coming from. This ends up saving me a lot of money and also just comes quicker. And then always good to check the description. Sometimes there's sneaky little things in there. There wasn't a whole lot in here. No red flags though, which is why I pulled the trigger.
All of this would be pointless if I didn't actually show you the cards. So you can see here, I got a Fido coin, Blastoise EX, and Azerud. And then here's the actual card. You can see it's in solid condition. Just like we predicted from the pictures, the front looks really great. There's just some minor scratching on the holographic part, but no whitening or dents or anything that I can see. On the back, it's a similar story. It's actually even a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. The little scraping on the bottom right is barely noticeable. You can kind of see that there's a little whitening on the bottom, and then the top left corner is really the thing that stands out, but it's fairly minor. This really shows that PSA can be pretty aggressive with their vintage grading, but we can really take advantage of that and find great binder cards for really good deals in the PSA 4 to 6 range, just like this 5 here. As you can see, I have the base set 2 Blastoise and Charizard just hanging out up here for now. I'll keep them there for a little bit until I decide if I want to crack them open or find another way to put them in the binder. But I like to rotate new cards in there from time to time so I can enjoy them before putting them in the binder. If you like going on this journey with me, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm hoping to get the Venusaur also in soon, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.